It is you. You will open the door. Because you are the chosen. All those moments. It's a new adventure. Just for you.
All right, we have another anthology series from the makers of Love, Death, and Robots, which is a show I really enjoy. And now we have Secret Level, which is a anthology series, but this time it's off of video games. So it's like the level you didn't find because it was very secret, hence the title. Whatever. So when I heard this was coming out, I saw the trailer and I was like, this sounds really cool. Even if it wasn't the same people who did Love, Death, and Robots, I was still interested to watch it because of some of the games they were doing. So I was like, okay, I've played some of these games, I know some of these games, so I'm a little interested to see what they do. And I will say, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the series, or the season, because it got renewed. So I'm going to take this, because it's anthology, I'm going to take it segment by segment, or episode by episode. The Dungeons and Dragons one, I enjoyed. The end, they did something where they made me go, whoa, like that's really crazy. That's really cool. And then it just ends. So it's like, oh, but you did this. You showed this really cool thing, and then you're ending that? I was like, but I wanted to see how this would play out. Like, oh man, that sucked. Like, okay, whatever. The Sifu one, while I haven't played that game, I did enjoy the that one. And New World was kind of interesting to see Arnold Schwarzenegger in this one, and it was almost like the comedy hour of it because it was him. And while I enjoyed it, there were certain parts where I was like, yeah, dude, you gotta take a hint, man. I know he's supposed to be a just conquering king who just keeps going and going, but my favorite part of that one was every time he was trying to battle the king of the land he washed ashore on, that king was just like, dude, just stop. Like, just please stop. And it made me laugh. Then the next one is the Unreal Tournament one. This one was my favorite because it was kind of like, I don't know what they're going to do with this. And what they did was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, it was actually, what ended up happening was I saw the first 2 episodes and then I took a break for a while, actually. And then eventually I came back, and then the New World one was like, okay, that was all right. That was cool, I guess. And then the Unreal one was like, all right, I'm back. I'm really back in this. So I really enjoyed the Unreal Tournament one. That one was personally my favorite. Then the Warhammer 40,000 one. I have not played that game. I have friends who have, and they loved that game. And watched it, and I was like, dude, this was cool. This was really cool. Next up, which personally I think was one of the weaker ones, the Pac-Man one, because it was weird. It was really weird. And I'm like, I didn't think I was going to see a Pac-Man thing with blood and gore and, almost like cannibalism going on, and didn't think I was going to see that. So it was just like, I see what you're doing here, but I don't know about it. Crossfire I thought was just okay. I was like, all right, that's it. Okay, whatever. The Armored Core one, which is Keanu Reeves, which, instantly gets points for me. he kind of, he's, lack of a better word, he's an ass in this one. And, you know, I was like, all right, never played this game, but I really liked what they did with this. The Outer Worlds, which I really, really like that game, and I'm really looking forward to the sequel coming out this year. So, Obsidian, please don't let me down. I really enjoy what they did because it was almost like you were watching like a 20-minute short film from the game. And it had a lot of like the same humors you expect, a lot of that very like, you know, Outer Worlds has very silly yet dark humor. Like, you know, with this one, it's like, okay, that's funny, but that is messed up. Like, wow, that's just wrong, but that's funny. So I really enjoyed that one. The Mega Man one was cool, but there were certain ones, and in fact, this was just probably the whole season, is that there were some that felt very shoehorned, and while the Mega Man one I thought was cool, it felt a little shoehorned. It was kind of like we need this season to be 16 episodes. Well, we have this one that's just kind of sitting over here. I'll throw it in there. So, as much as I thought it was cool, it felt very much like an afterthought, and they just went, okay, here's a bonus episode. The Exodus one, I thought was interesting. It's kind of like, okay, like, all right. I know not a lot of people liked this one, the Spelunky, and I'm like, I have no idea what that game is. So I was watching it going like, hey, this again kind of felt like, you know, much like the Mega Man one, was like, okay, while I think it's interesting and I like most of what you're doing, it felt shoehorned. Now we get to the Concord one. The Concord one, while was fun in short bursts, it was kind of like, well, it felt like, you know, because I think the game like just came out or was coming out, and then now it's gone. I think after like a month. So it felt very like, oh, well, there it goes. So it was kind of like, okay, I know not a lot of people like that one, but I was like, it's not as bad as I think people are saying it. The Honor of Kings one surprised me because I heard about the games, but I didn't know like what it was, but I really liked what they did with it. And I was like, this is kind of cool. And then the Playtime one, which, you know, I know not a lot of people like that one. That one felt very much like PlayStation saying, hey, let's just throw all this stuff in here and see if it sticks. And while I didn't care much for the Playtime one, I was like, okay, it's still interesting. So to recap, my favorite ones, the Unreal Tournament, Warhammer 40,000, the Outer Worlds, and Honor of Kings. If I would have to throw an honorable mention in there, or honorable mentions, Armored Core, and maybe the Dungeons & Dragons one. And now, least favorites, Pac-Man, probably Crossfire, Playtime, Concord, maybe Spelunky in there. But that's the thing with anthology stuff, is that some of them are going to be hits, and then some of them are going to be like misses. It's bound to happen. One is obviously going to be better than the other, and if you're able to be something like me personally, like VHS 2, where actually I enjoyed all of them, including the wraparound, then I think you succeeded. But you know, every once in a while, you get one where it's like, okay, that segment was really cool. This one, not so much. And it's bound to happen. That's the tricky thing with anthology stuff. But I think overall they did a really good job with this, and the fact it got renewed. And, you know, I was talking with friends and family about it. And some of us were throwing out games that were like, we want to see like this, like potentially something like Assassin's Creed, something maybe like, trying to think, maybe Cyberpunk, but you know, I don't know, like maybe that would be cool. Maybe another Witcher thing. But you know, I was very happy to see this, and personally, I give this about an average because there were a lot in there that I did like, and then there's some that I'm like, that didn't work for me. But you know, with the amount of gains they were able to do, and the fact that, you know, the stories, and that they were all original, you know, for the ones that I did like, they managed to do a really good job with it. And especially the casting they had, like from Schwarzenegger to Keanu Reeves to even Kevin Hart. It's just a ton of people in this show, and who knows what we'll see in season 2. So that's personally what I think. So I give it about an average. You know, it's definitely like you watch it and make up your own mind. And you know, I have family that really, really, really like this show. So I said like, well, it's got renewed, and they're like, yippee. So we'll see what happens with season 2.
Come in. You have a game to play.